Good evening and welcome to another edition of The Collective here on WSME Enlightenment Radio. One of the things that The Collective is doing, and let me explain to you if you don't know, The Collective is sort of uh, a weaving together of different things: the arts, music, politics, civics, sports. And so, with that, what I usually attempt to do is have maybe 15 minutes of each, but with particular people and musicians, I give the hour. So I welcome back, even though this is his first time on the collective, I welcome back Manny James to have another conversation about the music he has out now. So, Manny, first of all, thank you very much for being on the collective and being my first musical guest. You're the first.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad to have you on. Now, I went to your Instagram page. Let's talk numbers.
Okay.
All right. So you have had 10,434 hours of your music streamed. You've had 22,849 listeners playing your music on repeat.
Yeah.
89 countries.
Yeah.
15,554 playlists.
Yeah.
And 258,000 streams for Never Let Go, which was released in June. So how are you feeling about all of this?
I don't know. I'm a little in shock. You know, as an artist, you never know how people are going to receive your art. It's extremely gratifying because it's the first record that I did completely on my own, meaning, you know, I had people to help me produce it, but I wrote it, recorded it at my studio, made sound studios. It's the first song off of my label, and I just really wanted to trust my own instincts and my own gut and make the music that I wanted to make. So to see people respond to it that way is literally, it's been incredible. So I'm just humbled by it.
Because when I first had you on,
right,
you had one single?
Yeah, I had just one single. Yep, Good Company. Yep.
Good Company.
Yep.
And then you put out some more music, which hit the airwaves locally and did very well.
Yep.
And then before I knew it, you were like, well, I'm getting ready to do something totally different. And when I complete with it, I'll let you know when I complete it. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I see Church Street South Entertainment. So what brought you to that? I know we talked previously about people doing their own thing, you know, having their own studios, their own production companies, you know, owning and licensing their own music. But what made you decide this was the route for you?
It was two reasons. Artistically, I felt like I was in a space where I wanted to take complete control of my brand. And I had laid the foundation with my previous label, and I just felt like it was time to really control every aspect of what I wanted people to see and know Manny James for. The other piece of it was I wanted to give opportunities to other artists and to empower them and to just give them the space to be the best version of themselves artistically. So it was really both of those, and it's always kind of been my dream. You know, I've working with other people, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna put myself in a position to give other people opportunity. So the first song, for it to do that well, it just kind of solidified everything, and it really made people be like, whoa, like, we loved your music before, but this is home run. This is it.
So this is your second EP, right?
So I have two EPs out. This is my first single off of my soon to be, once I finish working on these records, my next record.
Now, in doing this, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of time are you putting into this? Because the thing is, I guess people don't understand
Right.
what really goes into something like this,
Right.
especially when you are your own brand,
Yep.
so to speak.
Yep.
You're the
Yep.
record label.
Yep.
You represent yourself.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about the time that goes into something like this.
I eat and sleep music. Literally, I wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There's songs in my head. There's melodies in my head. Just this one record. I think I started the record 2 years ago, and
Wow.
I just kept going back to it until I'm like, it's not ready. It was just like a slow cook. It just
Mhm.
wasn't ready. And when I finally got to it, and because I'm a perfectionist, when I finally got it to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready for people to hear it, that's when I knew. But it takes an extremely long time. I mean, you can put music out quickly, but when it's that important to you, and you really want to put your best foot forward, you really want to make sure that you've created something that you can be extremely proud of.
Do you hear music all the time?
Yes, yes, I'm influenced by so many people, from
Mm,
Sam Cooke, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Boys II Men. There's just so many artists, that Al Green, Marvin Gaye. There's people that I listen to that are literally, I feel like they're ingrained in who I am. Um,
mhm.
so there's always music in my head. I'm literally, when I'm writing something, like if I'm typing or doing some work, there's music playing. It's like a jukebox, a radio in my head 24/7, and I can't turn it off.
So
Can't
what
turn it off.
comes first? Is it the lyric or is it the melody or is it like a background hum? What comes first?
I think most time the melody comes. For me, what I learned is interesting. You asked me that. What I've learned about the last song, um, is normally I would write to music. Like someone would give me music, I'd be like, Manny, I got a track for you, and I would write
Mhm,
according to the track. With this, I literally stripped everything down, and just, a friend of mine's, Pete, um, he just grabbed his acoustic guitar, and we just wrote it according to that. And I think because we did it like that, it was, such a strong melodic piece of art. And
mhm.
I just feel like that's the best approach to it, because sometimes the music could get in the way, but ultimately you want the song, you want the lyrics, you want the melody
Right.
to really catch people. So yeah, so most times it's the melody.
So are you running around with like a little pen and pad or
Yep,
putting it in your
yep,
phone,
yep.
holding on to it that way?
Yep, yep. I use my voice recorder a lot, and I'll just hum a melody, and then I have like the iPhone notes that I use a lot, and I have
Okay.
like maybe 10 songs in there right now that are just like, okay, this is going to be something. It's just not something right now. But for me, I just want I'm learning to. I've learned, I should say, to make everything happen organically. I don't want
Mhm.
to force anything. I want the records to feel, authentic, and when I created, I wanted to capture the space that I was in at that moment.
And in doing that, Manny, like you said, it took you 2 years.
Hmm.
But when you hear it the first time,
Right.
what's your reaction to that? Because when you hear it the first time after like 2 years of labor, is it a thing where, as you said, you're a perfectionist?
Hmm.
So does it come down to, oh man, there's a key that's off, or I could have done better here, so let me pull that back, or
Hmm.
what happens with part of your process when that happens?
So I'll say that for Never Let Go, what I learned, and again, this is all brand new to me, even though I've been doing this for a long time. This was such a learning lesson. I learned to just allow it to make people and myself feel a certain way. So
Okay.
if the record makes you feel a certain way, or makes me feel a certain way, then I'm good. I'm no longer fine tooth combing it for every little intricate
Yeah.
detail. That's just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
be honest with you, most people don't even hear that anyway. That's just you. You're a
That's
maniac.
just you,
Yeah,
right?
you're the maniac, and you need to calm down, and you need to just let the music be what it be. And if it makes people feel good, and I'll say this about the record, there was the first record where I got goosebumps from a record that I actually created.
Hmm.
So that was
Wow.
like, yeah. So that I remember the first time I played it like completely to myself. I was alone in my studio, and I played it, and I listened, and here my arm stood up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is
This is
special.
it.
This
This
yeah,
is
this is
it.
special. This is
This is
special.
it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So, are you pursuing other artists for your label? Do you have artists already lined up or?
I am definitely open to working with other people. For me, it's about work ethic. Um, I don't like to waste time. I'm a fun guy, but my artistry is extremely important to me. So anybody that
Mhm.
I work with, I want them to have that to understand. Like, okay, we in here, we can have a good time, but let's work. Let's try to create
Yeah.
something great. Let's not waste time. So absolutely. That's definitely something that I would love to do. Work with other artists, write songs for them, and try to put them in a position to be successful.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you see your role as in that position? Are you songwriter? Are you producer? Are you background singer? Are you all those things?
I'm all of those things. I'm whatever the record needs me to be, but I would love to contribute. I love writing songs. I actually feel like that's my biggest strength. So I would love to be able to write other records for other people and to get them to be successful at that. That would be huge for me to do the Quincy Jones thing or the Babyface thing. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And have it totally turn out something different than what you first
Yes.
started with, right?
Yes. 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 Exactly. So yeah, that's it.
So, with the new label,
Mm-hmm.
Church Street South Entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
how free do you feel with that? Because it's not enough to ask you where it came from
Right.
or,
Right.
you know, uh, what made you decide to have a label, because in this day and age, everybody
Mm-hmm.
that's a musician
Mm-hmm.
is doing, they're dropping their own music.
Mm-hmm.
They're not waiting on a record company, or they're
Mm-hmm.
forming their own music companies, or they have their own labels.
Right.
But even with the freedom,
Mm-hmm.
what do you see as the cons in having your own label?
Oh, well, you got to foot the bill. I mean, I mean, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You got to pay for everything. Everything come out of your pocket. There's none of that. But the pros of that is you get to live your dream the way you saw it when you were a kid. That's it for me. Like now I get to do everything the way I envisioned it when I was sitting on the project steps.
Mhm.
So there is nothing musically that feels greater than that.
That freedom.
Freedom. That's the word. Freedom. Freedom to be who I am as an artist.
So, why the name? Why didn't you name it Manny James Records?
That's a good question. Um, I wanted to represent all of the people that poured into my life when I was a kid.
Mm,
I wanted it to represent community. I wanted to represent um, making a dollar out of 15 cents that we used to say. I wanted to represent not the world considers it the bottom, but just humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
for me, it's a reminder of where you came from
yeah.
and where the dream started, because that's where the dream started for me.
When did you know? When did you know? How old were you when you said, you know what? I think I can do this.
I was 8 years old. I was in third grade. I was at Prince School. I remember it pretty clearly. It actually was fourth grade. I was eight going on nine. We had a little Christmas program, and my gym teacher was Wright at the time, Diane Wright. Shouts to her. Um, she her and my teacher kind of pushed me up to it, and they were like,
Uh-huh.
you should sing. I was already kind of speaking and doing some reading. They was like, you should sing, and I was like, I don't really want people to know that I sing. Whatever. Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm
Well, you
good.
should.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm almost set. They're like, no, you should really do it. You should really do it. So I remember singing, and it was actually Star Spangled Banner. And I remember the entire room of all my peers and all the teachers, like just getting quiet. Like it almost felt like time stopped.
They
And
were
then I remember
surprised.
they were surprised. Nobody knew. So then when I finished, I just remember an eruption. It was like everybody stood up and cheered and started clapping. And I was like, whoa, what happened? What is this? I just didn't expect that reaction. And I think that's what really sparked that you could really do this if you're willing to put in the work and really dedicate your time and your energy to being an artist.
And we're going to talk about all of that in the second segment, as well as a couple of your songs.
Okay.
Um, in doing this, growing through it,
Mm-hmm.
what have you seen as the biggest change for you as an artist and now a record label owner? What's the biggest change?
I just think I might have. I'm not going to say underestimated, but you don't really know when you have a machine behind you. That's the best way to describe it. When you have somewhat of a machine behind you, a label support, you don't really think about all of the details that go into making a record, not just
Right.
an album, one song. I'm talking artwork. I'm talking production, songwriting, mixing, mastering, releasing it, coming up with a plan, creating a video, the treatment, like all of those things for one song. Prior to me doing it on my own, I had a team. So all I really had to do was create for the most part.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? But all of that comes, and then the promotion and then the marketing. You're literally doing everything. But even with all of that, it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's
Absolutely.
worth it.
Absolutely.
And with Never Let Go,
Mm-hmm.
taking 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
are you ready to move to the next song? Can you let it go now that it's out there, now that you've done everything? It's almost like a child, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
give birth to
Yep,
it, you
yep,
kind of shape it and
yep,
form it,
yep, yep.
and then it goes out and you just wish for the best.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. I don't know. That's a good question. So I'm actively recording, but I'm still kind of stuck on this song. I cannot.
Mm.
I'm still in never let go mode. Like I'm in the process of figuring what I'm gonna do for the video, and I'm just still like,
Oh, you
I don't.
haven't shot the video yet.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no. I have the treatment. I just haven't shot it because of the COVID.
yeah,
But with the song, I just don't want to cut the legs off of it. I want it to continue to grow. It's only been since June.
yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
It's what, the first week of June? I think
The
it
first
was
week.
June
Yep.
4th,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yep. 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 It was June 4th. So it's kind of like, eh, I know I need to put something else out within the
Yeah.
next 2 months, but I'm still not there yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Not at all.
Well, you gotta release it, right? You gotta let it go because you have to walk into
Right.
that next song,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I know that COVID has had an effect
Absolutely.
on everything that
Mm-hmm.
everybody has done as far as entertainment is
Mm-hmm.
concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I think that even a small time podcasters have been
Mm-hmm.
affected,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because you can't be in the same room with anyone anymore.
Yeah, that's different.
And everything is depending on this medium.
Yep. Yep.
So I guess it in a way has been positive for you because
Mm-hmm.
the numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah. Everybody home listening. Right.
Everybody's home listening to your
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So on one hand, you may not get out there to perform,
Right.
but on the other hand, you're now developing fans because people are playing your music
Right.
and they have it on repeat.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference.
No, absolutely. I actually, that was strategic. When this whole thing happened, I kind of foresaw that. I was like, we're gonna be home, and I actually reached out to quite a few of my artist friends, and I was like, hey, you might want to drop some music. People are
Yeah.
home. People are home. We got their attention. You got their
Yeah.
attention now. Put something out. Let the people live. Let them live. Let them enjoy it. Let them take it in. Let them become a part of your vibe. So, it was definitely strategic in thinking that, and I think it's going to continue. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely moving forward to the next song slowly but surely. But it's still my baby. I'm not trying to let the baby grow up too fast.
Yeah, you're trying to hold on a little
Right.
bit longer.
Right. Don't leave the nest yet.
But
Right.
when are you going to shoot the video? Because COVID kind of has an effect on that too, right?
Yes. So the plan was December, but I just
Uh-huh.
the place that I want to shoot it at, and how I want to shoot it is just not available right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm probably thinking January, end of January, maybe, and it would have to be like a private situation where I rent the space
Yeah.
and kind of go from there. But it's just
And have
not.
somebody come in and clean it down.
Yes, and but I don't know if people are going to even allow that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really, really, really difficult to do. I may have to come up with an alternative treatment. But the treatment for it is amazing. It's I'm not even going to reveal it, but it's going to, I believe it's actually going to make people love the song even more. I know it is actually.
So who works with you on the treatment? Do you have people that you pulled from the former record label, or are these people who kind of do this as a living also independently?
I did the treatment on my own.
Wow, Manny.
Yes.
Really?
I did the treatment on my own. When I tell you I want to take control of everything,
You really did.
I really did. Every aspect of it, the artwork, every single thing you see was my idea.
Wow.
Every single thing you
I
see.
had no idea.
Yep.
I'm thinking you still have
Mm-mm.
some kind of team,
I
a
mean,
small one.
I have people that I rely on to, bounce ideas off of, but this is on me.
But it's strictly you.
Yes, on me. It's on me. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
It's
I
impressive.
try. It's a
Because
long time.
it is. I know it's a lot of work.
A ton.
And I know that it's your creative process really has to be flowing.
Yeah.
To do those sort of things.
Yep.
It's not a start and stop process.
No. And you got to make sure that you leave no stone unturned. If not,
right.
the train could go off the tracks. It's not even a hard thing to do. You just do the wrong thing, and people are like, we missed that. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not checking.
We all know where you're going with this one.
Yeah, this ain't it, brother. You gotta go back in. So the video artistically, I think it's going to be a beautiful piece of art, and it's going to accompany the song so well. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, got a break here.
Cool.
In the studio, so to speak, in the room is New Haven's own Manny James, and he is now the owner of Church Street South Entertainment label, and has some new music out, which you'll hear shortly. Never Let Go. This is the Collective special edition. Michelle Turner, be back in a moment. Hit it, Doc. Thank you for joining us for another edition of The Collective. My name is Michelle Turner, and on the other side of the screen, I'll point that way.
Yeah.
That way.
You got it.
I got it. I'm a radio girl. I got to get this TV thing right. Yeah. But that way is the one and only Manny James, New Haven native, vocalist. Manny, do you play any instruments? I meant to ask you that before.
So I'm in the process of actually learning how to play the piano. It's funny that you asked me that. Yeah.
Have you always wanted to play piano, or were you just strictly and solely a vocalist.
I've always wanted to play the piano. Always. That's my instrument. The piano and the guitar. That's always the thing that
Yeah,
I love. I tinkle around a little bit. Like I'll create stuff to actually get the ideas for my records and then give them to the producer. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I think a lot of times most folks are surprised
Mm-hmm.
that artists are musicians,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, or even songwriters,
Right.
or have so much input, because that's what
Right.
we were talking about in the other break.
Yeah.
You doing the treatment,
Yeah.
sometimes, and would you say that sort of comes from people like a Sam Cooke
Absolutely.
or Quincy Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Even though Quincy Jones worked for record labels, eventually he did develop his own label.
Right.
You
Right.
know, Michael Jackson.
Mm.
And if you watch Beyonce's Coachella performance,
Mm-hmm.
if you really watch Homecoming,
Mm-hmm.
you have a very good idea as to how hands-on she is
Mm-hmm.
with all her projects.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so for me, when I think vocalist, I never think about the in-depth part. You
Right.
know, being a musician,
Right.
being a writer,
Mm-hmm.
being, somebody who plays guitar. I never think about that because all I'm focused on is the voice.
Right. Right.
So you never think about people in terms of doing other things in the studio. Are
Right.
there any other instruments you're interested in? Or
Um,
is this sort of like it?
the piano and the guitar. I would love to play the guitar. I think the acoustic guitar is such a beautiful instrument because you can just sit in an intimate setting, grab a guitar, and just pour your heart out. And I
Yeah,
think I love that. I love that. And that's
yeah,
probably even that's probably the only instrument that you can do that with. The piano too, but the acoustic guitar it's a little different. It's little like you can literally be laying on the floor with your guitar. I just always love that energy, the intimacy of it, and just the connection that you have with the instrument. So those are the two instruments that my favorite instruments.
and it's a different type of energy, right?
Right,
With the
right,
acoustic guitar,
right,
because you can basically, and when I say manipulate the music, I
right.
mean you can really bring things out that you
Yep,
may not be able to do
yep,
with any other instrument.
yep, yep. Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. So those are the two instruments that I definitely am fond of the most.
So outside of your Star Spangled Banner performance,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when did you start to sing and entertain?
Um, I would say middle school, probably like sixth, seventh grade. Miss Gonzalez, shout out to Miss Gonzalez. Just me and a couple of the friends, we did the Bell Bib DeVoe poison thing, and it was kind of the same. It was like the same thing. It was like, whoa, like so now everybody knows I can sing, but now I'm performing. Now I'm
Yeah.
actually on the stage, and I also did a little bit, started getting into acting a little bit, and doing a lot of the singing with the acting. We did the first play I was ever in was You're a Good what's it? You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Um, Yes. So I was Charlie Brown and just that part of it. Then I started to really understand the performance aspect of it, as opposed to just being a singer and being on the
Yeah.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And once you got out of school,
Hmm.
were you doing a local thing? Were
Yep.
you with a band,
Yep. Yep.
or was it
Yep.
just you solo?
It was the band thing. My band So Eclectic. We started. Oh, what year was it? 2007. I was doing my own thing, just doing a lot of recording, just trying to figure out how I wanted to be as an artist. Um, and then we linked up and did the band thing. We were doing Neo Soul Thursdays at the R Bar when it was just insane down there. 400 people on a Thursday night.
Mm,
Shout out to Steezo, rest in peace. And that
yeah.
whole crew. It was just amazing energy. And again, all of these moments were kind of like validation for like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is who you are. This is your
This is who
thing.
you are. Yeah.
This is it. This is your moment. So
Yeah.
it all kind of connected together. And then I put a record out, The Beautiful Lies, and then from there on, it just took off. So,
In this,
mm-hmm.
when you decided this is what I'm going to do,
Mm-hmm.
did it ever cross your mind to go west or go south? Why'd you remain in Connecticut?
Because everybody else leaves. I feel like well, I'm not going to say everybody, but I'm going to say most artists that want to achieve success that are from this area, they leave. And for me, I never wanted to do that. I wanted to be the person that put CT in a position that people started to really respect us and respect our artists and looked at us the same way they looked in New York or Philly or
Yeah,
LA or in Atlanta. I wanted to be one of the people to kind of bring that attention um, to Connecticut. I just feel like, a lot of people from CT, they leave. They don't even rap. They don't, people
yeah,
from New Haven. We have people from New Haven that's in the music industry doing very well.
yeah.
And they
Doing
don't
very well.
doing
Yes.
very well. They don't come back and make sure that people are straight. I just never wanted to be that. I wanted to be the opposite of that. And I'm not knocking you if that's what you feel like you need to do. But for me, I feel like I don't have to leave to become successful. And according to the numbers, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, you're doing all
I'm
right.
doing all right.
You got a
Doing all
little
right.
bit of recognition on
Yeah,
top of it.
got a little, yeah, little
Yeah,
spotlight. It's okay.
a little lift.
Something, little something. Right. A little bit. A little bit.
So I know that you released Never Let Go in June,
Right.
but prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
you released a song called Dear America.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that and why that song was something you felt you needed to do.
So for me, Dear America was a release. It is my most important song, I think. I just felt like at the time, I think the last person, Sandra Bland, had literally um, just been found dead in her cell, murdered. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a culmination. Remember, it was just like felt like every other week a black person was
Right.
being killed by the cops or being shot, and it just kept piling up, and it was just really, really became heavy. It was just like a weight, and it started to affect who I was. And I just,
Mm,
I needed to release it. So Dear America was my release. It was my opportunity to speak to people and to let them know what it's like to be a black man, a man of color in America. These are some of the things that we deal with. And, um, you know, we want the same thing you want. That's it. We don't want anything extra.
right.
We're not trying to get a head start. We want
Right.
equality. You know what I'm saying? We want to be treated fairly. That's it. And we haven't. We haven't since we got here. So for me, I realized that music is probably the most important form of communication. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew that the message would be heard and felt through the song. So that's why I did the America.
And on Instagram,
Mhm.
speaking of acoustics,
Mhm.
you do an acoustic version of A Change Is Gonna Come.
Yeah, man.
How did that happen? Because I think in some ways those two songs, Dear America
Mhm.
and A Change Is Gonna Come, are kind of
Mhm.
going down the same river, so
Mhm.
to speak.
Mhm.
There's a connection.
Mhm. Well, Sam is my guy, and the funny thing about the song is, for years I would never cover it. I wouldn't because I felt like I wasn't worthy of the song.
Mm,
That's how much I revere the song and him as an artist, and I just, I feel like if you're going to deliver that type of song, you got to be in that mindset. You have to really be able to speak those words from an authentic place. So when I finally started covering, it's because I was in the space to
mm.
deliver the song the right way.
And how you felt
Yep.
you were ready to
Yep.
deliver the song.
And it took years. There's a friend of mine that she used to always say to me, "Manny, you would do amazing on this song." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never going to cover that." And I'm not going to do it. That's Sam. I'm not touching that. I'm not
Well,
touching it.
and that's, it's always said that there are certain songs
Yep.
people just don't want to sing,
Yep.
or certain artists
Yep.
people just don't want to do their songs
Yep.
because they're so
Yep.
perfect to them.
Yeah. 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 And that's the song and the importance of the song. to the civil rights movement,
Yeah.
to now, to what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I have to sing this song. I have to. It's my duty to sing it.
It's a beautiful cover.
Thank
Got
you. I
to tell
appreciate
you,
it.
it's a
I
beautiful
appreciate
cover.
it.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot to, I'm sure, everybody
Yeah.
that has listened to it on
Yeah.
Instagram,
I appreciate
because
it.
I listened to it and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's really dynamic. But Manny, for you to be an R&B singer, you got
Wow.
a little blues in there with you.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on with that? Who are you, or who have you been listening to that influenced your sound?
I
That's a
am.
blues artist.
I am. I am. This is what I'll say. I'm probably more soul than R&B. Like,
Mm,
like it's the category soul R&B, but I'm probably more soul than R&B. Just that grunge, that rawness, that authentic, just you don't even need a lot. You could have a bucket and you know what I'm saying, a
yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
and that energy is what I love the most. That's the energy I try to capture and never let go. That's it. Just that raw, nothing smooth, none of that. Just from the heart, from the chest, just singing what you feel. So absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So who's the artist? I mean, if you had to pinpoint a blues artist or a few blues artists who have influenced you, who would that be?
It would be BB King, obviously. I mean,
Mm,
but then again, you think about people like Sam. They're
yeah,
influenced by everybody, so
yeah.
it's like a culmination of both.
No,
Um,
Johnny Taylor.
Johnny's cool. I've definitely listened to him. Absolutely, absolutely. He's a bad man. He's a bad man.
Because when I hear you sing "A Change Is Gonna Come,"
You hear that?
I hear a little bit of Sam. I
Yeah,
hear a little bit of Johnny.
yeah, yeah.
I hear a little bit of ZZ Hill, maybe a little bit,
ZZ's cool too. Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it just made me wonder: is there? Because you're right. As far as R&B is concerned,
Right.
R&B is a combination of different things.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's got I saw, not to sidebar, but on the American Experience,
Right.
they did a piece on Native American influence
Mm.
in American music.
Okay.
And one of the things that they did was that the tribes in Mississippi sang gospel,
See?
which I had
Yeah.
never heard of before.
Right. Right.
And they had women
Mm.
quartets were, uh, according to this documentary,
Mm.
quartets were women's work, if you will.
Wow.
Women sang in the quartets,
Wow.
not men.
Wow.
And so there's a scene where they have these four women, and I can't remember the name of the group, but they're sitting there in their native regalia
Mm.
on a porch in a clapboard house in
Ah.
Mississippi.
Nothing
And to
better.
hear it, I'm saying, my God, this is the blues.
Nothing better.
It was gospel, but it was the blues. And I was just blown away.
And to me, and I've always said this, I feel like gospel, soul, and the blues and jazz, they're all
They're
intertwined.
all, yeah,
They're all intertwined. Like
yeah,
when you listen to the great gospel singers, what do people say? They got soul.
right,
That's what it comes from. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's all one big melting pot. So I'm influenced by it all. I listen to it all. So
Yeah, because I think, if you grow up in a certain era, then you know those names,
yes,
that I named off, because you
yes,
couldn't get around it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
on a
yeah,
Friday night at
yeah.
anybody's mom's,
Oh,
dad's, grandma's house,
down south with the juke joint. Yes,
you
yes.
can't get around it.
Right,
But
right.
I think younger people
Hmm.
don't know who they are.
Right.
And so it has to be the job of some artists to say, these are the people. This is where the
Our
music comes
forefathers.
from,
Yep.
because
Yep.
they are the ones that carried this to the next level.
Right.
And it used to bother me a lot that I would go, not necessarily to blues shows, because I was one of those people that really thought, it's blues music, it's
Mm-hmm.
country. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
won't be bothered with that.
Nah,
And
right.
then hip hop came along, and I bumped my head and fell in love with hip hop.
Right.
And so consequently, when I would look at like specials on TV, and
Mm-hmm.
I would see mostly a white audience
Mm-hmm.
taking in, blues music,
Mm-hmm.
and then listen to somebody like an Eric Clapton,
Mm.
talk about different blues artists who influenced him.
Yep.
And the Beatles talk about,
Yep.
different people, and the Stones.
And the
And
Stones. Yep. Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute. I need to go back and look at this again
No, we the
and
originals.
really think about this
Right.
again,
Right.
and have a different perspective about it.
Right.
So I hope that once COVID is over, because
Mm-hmm.
there was starting to be a genuine interest again
Yeah.
in the African American community in
Yeah.
blues music.
Yeah.
So I hope once COVID ends and we get back to semi-normal,
Right.
because I think it's going to take us a while to get back to what we knew, and
Yeah.
the new normal is going to be very different from
Yeah.
anything that we've ever known.
It's changed
Um,
forever. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think that we will start to pursue that music once again
Right.
with a fervor, with
Right.
some real passion behind it.
Right. We need it. We need it. I think we need to celebrate all styles of music that influenced. Like these hip hop artists don't understand. These R&B artists, they don't even understand where it comes from. I'm a
Yeah.
young dude, but I'm an old soul. So I literally listen to. I feel like I was born in the 50s, and you know what I'm saying. That's just
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
I am. I
Yeah.
can't even turn it off. So yeah.
Yeah. Because it's very basic. And
Yeah.
when I say basic, you listen to somebody like a Little Richard or
Mm,
a James Brown, and even Jimi Hendrix early stuff,
right. It was different.
when you start to talk about playing a guitar,
Mm-hmm.
acoustic or electric,
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
very much that,
Right.
it's very blues oriented.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
All James music to me was blues. Like it's soul, but it's also blues. Like when his
Mhm.
phrasing, his musicality, I'm just like, this is ah, this is it right here. This is it. So yeah,
So, with the 7 minutes we have left,
right.
what you doing? What's next?
New music. I'm producing, writing. I am trying to
Get that treatment done.
get the treatment done. You know, with the song, when a song does really well, um, you want to make sure that you follow it up the right way.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. It's pressure, but it's extremely important to make sure that you come with something else that people can connect to. And I don't, I used to feel like it was the technical thing, and now I'm realizing that it's really not. When I think about all of the songs that I love,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I love them is for one reason: they made me feel a certain way.
Right. And that's I think that's the main thing with
That's the
all
main
music.
that's the main thing. So if you can create something that makes people feel a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it the right way. That's what I feel about it.
And that's how you feel about Never Let Go.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I know that's why people took to it. Like I know that's why my mom called me, and she supports me, but she called me the first time she heard it and was like, I love it. And I was like, what? It was
Has
different.
she
It
done
was
that with any other songs?
no, no, no. She
Wow.
liked them. She liked them, but it was just a different energy. I got a lot of um responses from people, family members that just literally made sure they called to say, "Yo, we really, 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 really love that record," because it reminded them of the music they grew up on. It reminded them
Yeah.
Temptations and the Four Tops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It reminded them, it gave them that same energy, that raw energy. So I'm excited for what's next. I definitely got some tricks in my sleeve.
Good. Good for you.
Thank
And
you.
so Church Street South Entertainment, are we just talking music? Is it just going to be music? Are we looking at film? Are we looking at
Mhm.
what else is going to be under that umbrella?
I'm looking at art. Anything that could be considered art. I want to do shows. I want to do community events. I want to really just get into content and making just dope content. And really, I just feel like artists don't always have the platform to be their authentic.
Mm,
So I want to be able to, and the more my brand grows, the easier it will be to actually say, listen, let's collab together on something, and let's see if we can really bring the attention to you, your artistry that you deserve. So
Manny James, thank you so much.
thank you. I
Appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
being here.
It's been dope.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun to talk to you.
Yeah, this good energy. This is good energy right here.
Yeah,
This I
it's
love it.
always good to talk to you. Thank you
I
for
love it.
being here.
Absolutely.
Um, when you get that treatment done,
Yeah, I got you. I got you. January probably.
come back and see me. All right.
Absolutely. Will do.
Manny James, vocalist, hopeful percussionist,
Yeah.
hopeful piano player,
Yep. Let's get it.
hopeful acoustic guitar player,
Absolutely.
New Haven native, great vocalist, great musician. Thank you for being here. And folks, this has been another edition of The Collective. And don't forget, Sunday, 6 p.m., always is where you'll find us on WSME Enlightenment Radio. Catch the SM experience. It's here for you. Good night.
Yeah,
Thank
have a good
you.
one.
Thanks, Doc.